Hey everybody, welcome back to Pro AV today. Not in my normal studio today, which is actually kind of fun, mixing it up for a change. But wanted to focus today on Infocomm, right? It's one of the cornerstone shows in our AV community, and it's really easy to kind of think and assume that it's going to look and feel a specific way, right? Especially as somebody who's been there for a while. But wanted today to dig in a little bit deeper and get the perspective of somebody who is in the industry but is actually attending Infocomm for the first time. And my guest today is Izzi Demara from RoomReady. Izzi, thanks so much for coming on.
No problem. Thanks for having me, Ben.
Well, Izzy, look, you're someone that I've known for a little bit, obviously newer in the industry, but somebody really who has already made an impact. And it's cool to see somebody who's already making an impact in the industry, this being your first time to Infocomm, right? So you have some expectations and kind of some opportunities maybe that somebody that is coming for the first time, maybe kind of cold turkey, may not have. So wanted to kind of bring your insight in today. But before we dig in super deep, tell us a little bit about yourself, right? Tell those of our listeners who may not know who you are, who you are.
Yeah, so I'm Izzi Demara. I am the marketing manager at RoomReady, and I've been with the company for a little over a year and a half. And I came in as a marketing coordinator from a non-AV background entirely. For the last 10 years, pre-RoomReady, I worked in collegiate athletics as a women's lacrosse coach and administrator. So kind of my journey into AV was a little bit accidental, but, I'm super happy to be here and, I absolutely love it. So for me, I just kind of got burnt out of the grind of coaching and athletics and was looking for something where I could be creative. And I'd done a lot of social media for the school that I worked at and coached for. So looked for marketing jobs where I could focus on social media and content creation and ended up here. And then, in the last year and a half, I've really tried to meet people in AV and just connect and learn and take it all in.
Well, I love to hear it, right? Because especially as somebody who has come into the industry recently, you have an incredible perspective, right? And that's the way that we continue to grow as a community and leverage those voices, whether it's maybe some of the more traditional paths like audio engineering or freelance videography, where people kind of get into the industry, installations, events, things like that. I love to hear your perspective as well. So with that, we'll kind of dig in, right? Let's talk Infocomm. So obviously your first show this year, but you've been part of the trade show cycle before. What really spurred your interest in attending the show this year?
Yeah, I think for me, if you'd asked me a year ago if I wanted to go to Infocomm, I probably would have said yes, but would have no idea what was going on. So for me, like this year, feel like I've settled into the industry and I've seen the trade show cycles kind of come through, and I always know there's a ton of announcements and updates from manufacturers, platforms. There's a lot of cool stuff released at these shows, so I'm excited to be there and see them like first person and instead of like reading about them after the fact. And so I think for me, like just now having a basic understanding of the AV industry and know what's going on, I'm excited to take like a deeper look into the industry and talk directly with people that we work with every day, just in a different light.
Well, look, especially as an attendee and not an exhibitor, you have the opportunity really to go a lot of different places and try, to meet some new people, go go to different trainings, conference sessions, things like that. What are some of the expectations that you have coming in for your first time?
Yeah, I think at first, honestly, I'll probably be a little bit overwhelmed. Just looking at all of the sessions and exhibitors, it's going to be a huge show, a ton of people, and that's different than anything I've been a part of before. So I think at first I'll probably just be kind of overwhelmed by it all, but I'm also expecting to learn a lot and meet some really cool people. And, I get to meet some people who I've met, online for the first time in person. So that's really exciting to like actually be together in the flesh.
Well, I love that you talk about learning and kind of just absorbing new things, right? Infocomm is such an incredible place to share ideas, and you're exactly right. Meet people that you may only know digitally, right? Especially post pandemic, and it's just a lot of fun to be able to meet new people, absorb new ideas, things like that. But sticking on that topic, what are some of the trends that you're hoping to see? Right? Is it specifically in one vertical like UCC, or what are some of the other opportunities and growth opportunities that you're looking for at the show?
Yeah, I think for me personally, I'm excited to see more about like the audio trends and what's going on from my perspective in marketing. I think it'll be really helpful to see what's going on with new platforms and hardware for video conferencing, since RoomReady is an integration company. So I think that'll be some good, like almost market research for me to see what's going on, and that can help our customers. But then just from an individual perspective, learning. Um, I'm trying to absorb as much information as I can. So I'm trying to take away as much as I can from it in any way that I can.
Well, I love to hear it, and there are always some questions that come up that we as a community love to be able to ask, right? And you picked a year where Infocom is in Orlando, right? Obviously, alternating every year between Orlando and Vegas. Out of curiosity, did the location actually impact your decision to attend or not this year?
The location didn't. For me, I'm located in central Illinois, so I'm about halfway between Vegas and Orlando. So, regardless of location, it would be a trip for me. But I'm excited for Orlando. I like the area, and I like the humidity there compared to the desert of Vegas.
Well, there you go. Yeah, it's definitely more of a beach vibe, and you've got things like Disney World and Universal there, and all kinds of good stuff happening. But one of the things that I wish I knew as an early Infocom attendee was more about the parties, the events, the opportunities. Do you have some in mind that you're trying to attend? Or there's some on your radar that you're trying to get a ticket to? What's on your mind for the events and the parties?
For the events and parties, I am very much like a go with the flow person. So, ahead of the show, I've got some set education sessions that I want to go to, and exhibitor booths I want to visit. But in terms of like the more like networking social side of things, I'm kind of just gonna see what happens when I get there. Being new, I don't have like the scoop on all of the parties and stuff you need tickets for. So I'm just gonna kind of wing it and see what happens.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. Give Izzy tickets to your party, and she'll Instagram. She'll capture the whole thing, create some content. On with that in mind, too. I mean, naturally, we're on a show right now, and I talk all the time about leveraging content creation and creating at shows like this, and sharing your experience. What are some of the content pieces you're excited to create out at the show?
Oh man, there's so many. I'm excited to take, for our customers specifically, I'll love to create some videos of some demos of some hardware that we're looking at in our innovation lab. And then a lot of photos. I'm just trying to take it all in. And I think, the content piece specifically, I can figure out later. So, you'll see me filming as I walk around, and, um, kind of figure out at the end, like, what is the most valuable info we have, and then figure out how to turn that into content. For me, I love doing short videos. I think that's a great way for people to consume information, especially as we've moved into such a digital age. I think it's important to create content that's easily accessible to people and in a format that they want to consume. So you'll see me filming a lot.
Well, and obviously we've got to have you stop by the booth. We're going to be filming and recording and podcasting, and I'll be live at the Avixa booth and all kinds of stuff happening as well. But, really as somebody too who it will be in person this time, you've had the opportunity to kind of follow along with Infocom digitally. And, as we kind of land the plane here, what are some of the things that you recommend to those who can't be there in person this year? How should they follow along digitally?
Yeah, I think probably some of the best ways to follow along are definitely check out the website so you can see what's going on ahead of time. And then for each of the exhibitors, follow them on social media. I'm sure they'll be posting videos, photos, articles, updates, press releases as the show goes on. So I think probably the best thing to do is get organized ahead of time so you can really kind of focus in on what you want to see, and make sure you're following those people, those accounts, hashtags, of course, so you can get information tailored to you in a way that you would if you were in person, but just from afar.
Well, Izzy, we're fired up about getting to see you out there this year for sure, and can't wait to really gauge your perspective and learn some of the things that you see, some of the opportunities that you come across, and even some of the things that you learn out of the show. So we've got to find a way to have you back on. Maybe that's going to be at the show floor, right? It could
Heck
be a good
yeah, I would
opportunity
love
for us to
to.
reconnect. But Izzy, thanks so much for coming on the show today. We're so grateful for your insight.
No problem, Ben. Thanks so much for having me. I'll see you in Orlando.